Hi guys, and we are back. Day 26, Body, Mind, Spirit Challenge. My name is Jim Standish, and welcome back. So we have been working on our meditation practice, and so far we have added a little bit of an element every day, and it is going to take some time for you to work these elements in, and I want you to practice them and add them as you see fit. For me personally, it was the addition of all these things that made it work for me. And that is why I am sharing them with you. Maybe all these things are not necessary for you to reach the place that I'm wanting to get you to. I'm just sharing with you that it really did. My head is going all the time. And I really needed some tools to dial in that thought process so that I could kind of keep the thought process auto running in the background, and that I could free myself from my own thinking, if you will. So today we're going to talk about a couple of more elements that you can add, and I want you to either add these elements or subtract these elements. I want you to experiment with them to see what works for you, because not everything works for everybody, and I think it's important to have a large selection of tools in your toolbox. And that's what all of these things are. All of these things are tools that you can put in your toolbox that you can pull out when you need them. And one analogy and one way of looking at that is that I am a woodworker. I have been a professional woodworker all my life. I apprenticed as a musical drum maker at age 14. So I come from a long line of tradition, if you will, in that. In the same with my spiritual and esoteric practices, I have learned from some masters that it's basically an apprentice program. So, you learn, you study, you go back out into the world, you practice, you come back, you learn, you study, you go back out into the world, and then you come back. And gradually, climbing each rung of the ladder. And as we talked about that as you climb these different rungs, as you raise your vibration, not only are you working on yourself and working on your own vibration, but you're also making space. You're allowing other people to come up behind you. So it's very important to do some of this personal work. Whether this works for you or not, I don't know. I'm just presenting these tools to you, and I hope you get something out of them, and I hope they do work for you. So here's a couple more hacks. Okay, we talked a little bit yesterday about the eye mask, and I am going to give you a little PDF handout that talks about the eye mask, and we talked about what a really cool trick it is. And what happens is when you put the eye mask on, you actually open your eyes into total darkness. So all kinds of things start to happen in your brain when you close your eyes. You start to create all these chemicals in your brain that will help you sleep. And when you have your eyes open and you're staring into the blackness, the chemicals start to be released. However, you can experience some of the chemical reactions in your head, opens your pineal gland, and allows you to travel a little bit deeper into the abyss. And the other thing that I want to talk about is another mudra. It's another tip to add into your toolbox, and it's called the roof of your tongue, the tongue on the roof of your mouth. Speak much. And in this one, again, PDF handout, there's a little bit of drawing there so that you can actually see what this looks like, but you take your tongue and you press it to the top of your mouth. Now, in the really hardcore tradition, you take your tongue and you work it up into the back of your mouth, and you make a connection in the back of your thorax and your throat. That is really difficult, and it takes an awful lot of practice to get your tongue to go up there. This is much easier. However, and it explains in the PDF about the electrical circuit that it completes. Okay, so you're gonna hold the tongue to your top of your mouth. Practice with this eye mask thing. And again, the eye mask doesn't really make sense. You're like, well, wait a minute. One minute you're telling me to look at the Sri Yantra, and the next minute you're telling me to put on an eye mask. Two entirely different techniques, and I want you to experiment with the two techniques to see which works for you. Um, there is a whole course, and I made that available to you called Project Yourself, and there was a link in one of the previous handouts where you hopefully you pulled that up, had a chance to look at that. There's an entire course that goes into a deep dive of the Sri Yantra itself and explains. You notice there were 4 sides to it. It talks about the 4 gates. It talks about all the petals, all the lotus petals on the outside. There are 2 rings of lotus petals. It talks about all the triangles. It talks about the bindu in the center. There is a complete anatomy to that symbol to understand, and it is a complete course to understand the symbol and its complexity. However, not important. The important thing for you to know is that when you look at it, it balances both hemispheres of your brain, and it allows you to travel into places that you may not have been before simply by looking at the symbol. Science confirms this. I gave you the links. You can look it up yourself. The eye mask is just another tip, another technique that if the Sri Yantra doesn't do it for you, and I'll be absolutely honest with you, that it was very difficult for me at first to concentrate on the Sri Yantra because of peripheral vision. So I had to buy like this black drop that I like hung all over the place, right? So I get this total thing of black around me, and then I put the Sri Yantra in the center of that because my brain is so active that when I was staring at the Sri Yantra, my peripheral vision was picking up other stuff in the room, and the brain was going other places where I wanted it to just strictly concentrate on the Sri Yantra. So for me, I had to put the Sri Yantra in a field of black so that I wasn't distracted by these other things. And if you get, part of the practice when you're doing that is that you can actually kind of close your eyes. So when you're looking at the Sri Yantra, you can close your eyes and actually see the image. The image kind of gets burned into your memory a little bit. So 2 entirely different techniques, and both are designed to work for different people and to help you get into that space. And that's where I'm guiding you into this space, into the void, into the universe, into creation, so that when you get into that space, we can actually start to use that and use manifestation techniques. So day 27, I have my little notes now. I have my notebook. I hope you guys are putting this in your notebook because I got mine. On day 27, we are going to talk about brain entrainment. And this, again, is another tool, another tip, another technique that you can plug in, put in your toolbox, and it may just be the key for you. So thanks for joining me. Today was day 26. We're going to build on this again tomorrow. Day 27, we're going to talk about brain entrainment. I'll see you then.